Pramono, thanks for coming, mate.
No
Appreciate
worries,
it. I wanted to start you off with an intro that I've written here, something a little bit different.
Okay.
So, short and sweet. I said Pramono Edens, founder of Skylar Safety, Australia's largest training provider to the renewable energy sector, husband to Anita and father of 7. Is that correct?
All up, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. No, 6.
Yeah.
6.
Okay. Eugenia said 8. I was like,
No, not quite.
yeah, so you grew up in Indonesia,
Yes.
moved to Australia.
Yes.
You served as a medic in the Australian Army. You're a man of faith, and you've built several businesses while balancing family life. That's what I want. So it's really excited to catch up with you, mate. And
Sounds good.
yeah, so mate, it's going right back to the beginning. Growing up in Indonesia, what was that like? Where was that? What was it like?
So, it's pretty interesting in a way, right, along the way. So, I was born in a place called Semarang. So Semarang is in central Java. So didn't really stay around in Semarang very long. I think I was there for 3 years. Bit of a family history in that regard. So very interesting in Indonesia is that certain, I wouldn't call it tribes, but they are, I guess, ethnic groups within Indonesia, because Indonesia's got, like 7,000 islands, if I'm not mistaken, and they all could have different languages, different culture, different things, right? So, Mum come from Java, Semarang, and majority of people, associate Java as the, people that really control Indonesia, as such. And Dad come from a place called Sulawesi, right, where life is a bit more difficult. They're bred a bit more tough, a bit more harsh in a lot of ways. So the two generally don't mix. So somehow they met because Dad was stationed there as a officer cadet for the Navy, and Mum was the daughter of a brigadier general of the military. So that's how they met. Now, cut a long story short, things happened. Dad was very naughty, as Navy boys could be, right? And by accident, of course, I was conceived. Yeah. So a big running joke within the family, of course. But at the same time, we believe another little promoter was conceived too.
There's a few running around Java.
There was 2.
Yeah.
And as an officer cadet, of course, grandfather was really, really, really upset about this, and he sort of gave Dad a choice about which girl to marry. Just so it happened, he had a handgun pointed to Dad's head and said that, so which girl you choose to marry, my daughter or this other girl? Now,
it's more of a rhetorical question.
So he chose well. We could say it that way. So
it all worked out.
It all worked out. So I grew up. So that's a bit of background story there. So I was born in 1980 in Semarang. So I lived there for about 3 years because my grandfather then passed away. He passed away as a broken man in a lot of sense because I'm not sure if everyone knows, but in '75 the whole East Timor, things was happening. He was sent over there, wasn't really sure what was going on. When he come back, he became anti-military, a guy who actually spent most of his life in the military, right? So,
yeah, because Indonesia was a military dictatorship.
Well, it was through Suharto, yes, pretty much so. I mean, Suharto come from the, as a colonel, he rose through the rank, through the military, became the president, and become dictator, for all intents and purposes. So in '75, a contingent was sent to East Timor to subdue, and this is when, I don't know if you remember the story about the
ABC reporters.
That's it.
Yeah,
ABC reporter,
yeah.
right, with the guerrillas and militaries and whatnot. So he was somehow associated with that, but wasn't really sure what, well, he was the boss, so, So he came back and he became a broken man that became very anti-military. So much so that on his deathbed, he actually said to my grandmother, say that please do not let any of my descendant ever join the military. So, and when he passed away, they wanted to bury him in what they call the hero's plot, you know, within the military complex. In his will, he refused. So something must have happened, right? He threw away all the medals, he threw away all of those things, any memories of the military. We can only assume, right? We can only assume what happened there. So, But
your father, you were telling me once, I might have this wrong, was he a hardline Islamist?
Hardline to the point that he uses the religion as a bit of a shield instead of more of a cause. If that kind of makes sense? Yeah. So he hides behind the religion to go, well, I'm a pure man because this is the religious thing that I follow, rather than use the religion to actually achieve something, right? Like a fundamentalist would, you know.
Right.
So yeah. So, but yeah. So that's him. Now, back to that story before. So when grandfather died, Dad actually stole me from Mum's place because Mum's protection's gone, right, after he died. So he sort of kidnapped me. Well, they were kidnapped. And back then in Indonesia, right? So, you know, no one's going to try and find you. And, you know, it's quite difficult to do that, especially if Dad's family have connections as well. So, and then I grew up. He put me in an island called Kaledupa, right? So it's a small island. Family's been there for generations, right? Grandfather's there, grandmother's there. So I lived there for about 6 years. Pretty much Dad just went, nah, there you go. And off I go. So I get to see, the good thing about that is that I get to see that side of the culture. Because remember I was saying the two cultures don't mix, right? Javanese and Sulawesianese just don't mix.
And what was that side of the culture? What do you mean by that? Like, what was unique about there?
As I said, you know, I think because life was harder on the island, they bred them harder and harsh. As in, you know, they more tend to resort to violent. They solve a lot of things with violent sort of tendencies, and no nonsense type of approach, right? But it's more of a dictatorial sort of very what do you call it? What the man says is what goes.
Old Testament.
Pretty much what the head of the family says. That's what you follow. If you don't, you know, you got to follow it on the pain of death, so to speak, right? So, and because they are kind of sheltered from the rest of Indonesia on the island, they continue down that path, right? Like for instance, there was a story of the family. I don't know how true this is, but you know, granddad was upset with grandma. He had a few wives, so she lived separately. Was upset, couldn't find her, and just decided to burn her house. And giggles, right? Just kind of funny to talk about it, but I'm sure it's not very funny back then, right? So
burn the house, she'll notice.
I know, but
yeah.
The stupid idiot
it's a strategy.
Need to rebuild it, right? But it was just like, you're an idiot.
Think it through, mate. Think it through.
That's right. So they're more kind of that way inclined, whereas the Javanese are known to be softer, you know, in their approach and things like that. So more diplomatic, I guess. Hence why a lot of people in governments are actually, you know, Javanese by tendency. So the two don't mix. Now, there is a saying that if the man is from Sulawesi and the girl is from Java, it doesn't work. But if it's the other way around, that could actually work. So, you know, and that's been passed on through generations. So I'm not sure whether that's
meant to be, mate.
I don't meant to be or not. So I get to see that side of the culture. It was really, really good. Life was, I must say that life was good, right? Because as a young lad, you have to make everything yourself. Like, there's no toys to buy on the island, so you actually have to make things yourself, right? So I remember it's a funny thing because Granddad owns a lot of fishing boats, right, with Grandma. But from an earlier age, I thought, well, I could earn some money here. right? Because like once a month or once every couple of months, you'd have a boat that come in with plastic toys. They're like shit toys, right? But it's a novelty, right? But you got to pay for these things. And there's a couple of ways to pay. Would be you could collect, like glass, like bottle, recyclable stuff. So as kids, we'd go around and collect recyclables, and that's how we'd pay for our toys. Or you use money. But I'm not, I was sick of doing recyclable things. I thought, what can I do to earn money? So I come up with this ingenious idea, right? So I remember Granddad owns this couple of fishing boats, right? And then people work for him and whatnot. So, a couple of days, a couple of times the fish come in full of fish. I would jump in there. I would select all the fish, right? And then I put them on a, you probably see on the villages where they've got this, just like a bamboo stick, right? And just fish hanging off, right? And then I would go around the houses and actually sell the fish. Now, little did I know, didn't realize it back then. I was like, 5, 6, 7 or something. That the husbands of these women that were buying fish off me were the fishermen anyway. So I was selling the fish back to them.
Circle of life.
The husband just caught, right? So I'm like,
but they wanted to encourage an entrepreneurial spirit.
Absolutely. So
we see what you're doing.
So they were happy to pay for it. Like they were paying me, and I thought, I'm onto something here. I'm onto something. So
yes, but also no.
Yeah. So got enough money to actually buy those things. So
that's awesome.
Those were actually happy memories, right? Because cool. you try things, and those were the days where I was never home.
Yeah.
Right. You either go to school, or when you're not at school, you're as soon as the sun comes up, you always have things to do. Like you go fishing, you go, you go hunting. Yeah. Correct.
Just no mobile phones.
Well, there's none of those things.
None of that.
TV was
probably not even many landlines up there.
There was one landline at our house, but the whole village would come to that if they need to. Right. There was one. We had a TV. We're like the rich one, right?
The TV.
The TV, and it would be on, and everyone would gather around on Soccer World Cup.
Yeah, mate, that's awesome though.
Right, so the whole village. You're talking about 100 or so people just sitting around at almost like a campfire, because it doesn't fit in the house, right?
Yeah.
So we put the TV. The house was on a stilt, so you got a nice steps, right? The TV was on the step, and we're all sit outside watching this. Just bring some food and whatever else, but that's all what we would do, right? But then during the day, we would find activities like I remember once I bred a rooster, fed it some special grass. Apparently, it was special grass to fight, right? Cockfighting.
Yeah,
and that's what you would do. And there's a season. There's a season
you
for everything.
You put it on rooster growth hormone.
Pretty much. It was called a Japanese grass. I had no idea what Japan was, right? Let alone its grass.
Did it win?
Sometime it did. So it's just Japanese growth hormone. So
it's just
enraged. Very interesting, right?
That's
because we're doing that, but life was simple, life was good, life was happy. So we always have something to do. There was never, you were never bored.
Yeah.
Even simple things like
it sounds like you basically grew up on the land.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you gotta make your own fun. That's the thing. When playing soccer was a bit too boring, we would get alfoil, but then they don't sell alfoil, right? So the only alfoil you would find is on the, inside the cigarette. Like a packet of cigarette, inside it, you've got that bit of paper, and at the back of that paper there's an alfoil.
Yeah, right.
So you
get
peel
enough of them.
So we were going around the village, right? Take us days to get enough of them to actually make a soccer ball out of alfoil. Because we worked out that if you actually dip that in kerosene and light it, it makes a soccer game more interesting. because you're kicking around this flaming ball, and because it's alfoil. No, of course not. Because the sandals would melt, right? So you don't. So
awesome.
It's always challenging when it's your turn to be the goalie, right?
Just let me. It's a very high scoring game.
That's exactly that. It's very interesting because we worked out, even as a kid, we didn't have a lot of knowledge in terms of science or anything, but it was just by doing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we worked out that if we had enough alfoil to actually make that, it doesn't burn, right? So it just continues to burn without damaging it. So it was very, very interesting.
That's awesome.
There's a season for that. Yeah. There is a season for kite season. When the wind picks up a little bit, we would go and make our own kites. We'd select trees and what do you call it? Fruit and things like that to make glue. We made our own glue, you know, because you just can't go buy glue. So you make your own glue from tapioca, from flour or things like that as well, right? And we used to fight the kite fight, we used to call it, where you know, if you play your kite and you try to get the string tangled, and then you have to cut the other person's string, and then their kite would float away, and we would then chase those kite, right? So whoever gets it, that becomes their kite. It's the price, right?
It's a simple thing.
It's a simple thing. So we're like, and then we worked out. So if it's just a normal nylon thing, well, it gets cut all the time. So we started making it out of a bit more of a cotton type string, but it's not very sharp. So we thought, what can we do? Oh, we know, because it's cotton, we can actually glue some broken glass to it. So literally we were like smashing glass, right? The things, you know, those mortar and pestle thing? Well, we're just smashing glass and then just rubbing it on these lines.
Yeah, grind it up.
Grind it up. Like, just things like that, right? And you learn that at a very young age. So, you know, it takes a while to build things like that.
Adapt and overcome.
That's right. But you know what? I think those were some of the happiest memories, I think.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
That unfortunately my children will never experience.
Different kind of memories.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So that's growing up there. That's Indonesia.
So growing up from that, how did you end up from growing up in that place? How did you make your way to Australia?
It's a longer story, Dave, on that. So, we probably should narrate this into a book or something, right?
That's right.
So from that, when I was 9 years of age, I got this letter from Dad. Now, remember, I've not seen him since the age of 3, right? So 6 years, I've not seen Mum or Dad, right?
So your dad stole you from your mum?
Yes. Dumped me into the island.
Dumped you on the island?
Yeah.
Flaming soccer balls, broken glass kites.
Selling fish.
And left.
And just left, yeah.
Yeah, right. So who did you grow up with?
My grandma.
Right.
Yeah, my grandma.
Okay. Yeah.
So we got this letter and it says, look, can you bring Pram to a place called Kalimantan or Samarinda, right? It's pretty much, well, most people know it as Borneo, right? Because he was in the Merchant Navy back then, you know, so after the military, he came up Merchant Navy. He was posted there. So we went over there. So me and Grandma, you know, would pack things, you know, all of my belongings, which is like just one little bag, right? But we didn't have those designer bags like we do now. So it's all plastic bags, right? So, you know, very handy. So we got on the ship to actually, you know, it took us days on the ship. And that was the only form of transport. There was none of these aeroplanes or anything like that, right? We're not accustomed to that. So we got a boat from Kaledupa to Bobo. That's the place called. That took one night on a boat. You know, that rickety old boat that you see on Border Patrol. Yeah, so one of those. And then we got onto a bigger ship. It's like a cruise ship, but it's not. But back in Indo, like if you don't have a lot of money, which we didn't have any money, you don't get a room. So you end up just sleeping, well under the stairs, under the staircase, outside. And luckily, of course, it's warm, so you don't have to worry about getting frozen to death. So we just, you know, sprawled out.
On the deck?
On the deck, pretty much, yeah. On the deck with Grandma. And then we got to my dad's house. He was there, which is good. And then, for the first time in my life, I met this woman who just had a baby. So Dad says, well, that's your mum. Now, I was 9. You know, sometimes when you're in your heart, you kind of go, I know it's not right, but I kind of don't dare to question it either. You know, and knowing also the culture, knowing what dad's like, you know, very harsh man. The last thing you want to do is if you do go, oh, is it really? The next thing that you'll probably see the wall,
I don't
right?
know.
Like, you know what I mean? You probably get a big backhand, you know, and that's just how it was, right? So,
Yeah.
you know, a lady who I know now is my stepmother. But back then, I just know her as my mother, right? Because that's what was made to believe. And she had a child then too, like that just is just my brother. And so life changed a little bit from that. From this happy upbringing where really we didn't have to worry about much. Life was actually simple to the point that it's just an absolute bliss. Does that kind of make sense? Where it's just so simple. You know, you get up in the morning, you either go to school or you play. Those were the things, right?
And you got all your friends out of that.
We got thrust out of that into the metropolitan, I guess, and then that would be the first time that I got thrust into the lie, really, right? All the pretense. Now, life changed dramatically because, you know, I kind of had an inkling she was a stepmother, but once again, didn't really question it either. But I copped a lot of abuse because Dad was never home, right? Dad would probably come home once every 9 months or, you know, once every year, stay for a month or less and then go again.
Yeah, because he's working on the boats.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So there's a lot of frustration from the mother because I guess it feels like she's a single mother dealing with a new baby with no support. And then I could understand it from her point of view that there's this 9-year-old that's just been thrust into her life as well, right? With no support from him either. It just, you guys just work it out type thing, right? So that caused a lot of a fair bit of tension. And I think every time she gets upset with Dad or get angry with Dad, she obviously can't hit Dad. I can't talk back to him, you know, because it's very that much, you know, husband, like, thou shalt respect your husband, you know. So I was the one that actually copped it, you know. So there's a lot of nights where you just get, you know, beaten up, literally beaten up to the point that you can't walk, and broken back and broken nose, that sort of stuff. So life become very difficult every day, which I thought was a bit unfair in a way, you know, to actually trust that into a 9-year-old. So, but life goes on, right? So, did that. We moved places a few times. Had more kids. Now I actually have 5 half siblings, right?
Yeah.
Same dad, different mum, half siblings, right?
Yeah.
So, and then we went to a place called Chilegon, which I now frequently visit, right? I probably once a week I go to Chilegon to invest, and, you know, because it does have a nice memory, right, for me. Nice in the way that it's a bit more nostalgic. It's what I remember, right? So we went to that place, lived there for about 2-3 years, and then one day I got a knock on the door. I said, look, you know, who are you? And he said that, oh, I'm your uncle. I'm like, well, I'm, you know, from which side? You know, from your mum's side. I'm like, well, I know all my uncle from my mum's side.
Which mum? Yeah.
well, by this time you're sort of used to the life as that's your mum, right? And he's like, you are Pram, right? I'm like, yes, I am who I am, but who are you? So, and then he explained, well, you know your mum's name is X, right? And I'm like, no, my mum is mum at home. And just so it happens, no one was at home. Like, it's sometimes, I don't know, you want to call it the universe or whatever, right? The higher power or whatnot. Things just happen. Because if there was a lot of people, it was never going to be that discovery. You know what I mean? It was too awkward. It was going to be interference. You know, you wouldn't be able to actually talk freely, right? But just so it happened that particular time, there was no one there. Now, my uncle has been going around this housing complex for 3 days, knocking on every door. And then he said, you know what? I just can't find him, right? Because apparently they've been trying to find me for a long time, right? I was now 15. So from the age of 3 to the age of 15, Mum's been trying to find me and the family's been trying to find me, right? Moved around all the time. It was difficult. But one of my dad's relation in Jakarta actually said, I think they're living in Cilegon, in this complex. That's all the information he needed. But then he go, well, what house? So he knocked on all the doors 3 days. Right? Couldn't find me. He was about to give up. So, and then somehow he saw this house with a, the old ship's steering. Mm-hmm. And he thought, you know what? I'm just going to try. So he knocked on that door and he said, look, do you know Hamid Mane? It's like, I do actually. We went to school together. We're like, oh, do you know where he lives? He's like, I do. Do you want me to take you there? And that's how we actually knock on the door. So it's incredible, right? Like he was about to give up, about to go home and just like, no, just one more try. And just so it happened that it just, it's the right one. So and then he explained that, no, this is your mum's name. She is actually in Australia. She's very sick, right? She's fighting an illness. She's been in the hospital for weeks. And her wish, and back then it was kind of touch and go, right? And her wish is that to speak to you, even if it's just one last time.
Right, so your birth mother got to Australia.
Yes, so my birth mother got to Australia, right? So, and that's the thing, so she was in a hospital bed, and he just sort of went, would you like to speak to her? And I'm like, oh. It's something that, it's strange, right? This stranger here, but yet everything feels familiar. Does that kind of make sense? Yet with the stepmother, it's a familiar face because I've lived there, for what is it now? So 6 years now, right? 9 to about 6 years. Yet feels like a stranger. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's a nice familiarity to my uncle. So yeah,
there's many a fairy tale about that. The evils of the stepmother and.
I know, right? And I lived there, right?
It's legit.
So, yeah. So because she actually had a lot of I think I was thankful to her as well in a lot of sense that I can be very independent because she actually forced me. Well, I was the one that looks after the brothers and sisters. As soon as they were born, I was changing their nappies, I was giving their bath, I was cooking, I was cleaning the house, I was doing a lot of things, right? So thankful for that later on in life, I can be anywhere in the world and be self-sustainable, right? So self-sustaining. So that's a familiarity to it. As I said, I picked up the phone, dialed the number, and then she just answers the phone, and for the first time in 12 years, I said, "Mum," to my own mother, and that was very, very. Even now, that's very emotional, very emotional time. So, it's been a journey to that point. But then now what?
So, did your mother's brother effectively re-kidnap you again to get you back to Australia, or?
No, because I guess I was 15, right? I had choices to make.
Yeah.
So we actually kept that discovery for probably about for a month, 2 months, right? So I'd be talking to Mum here, in Australia. I'd be talking to her, and and then she's come over for a visit, stay in Cilegon. I'd go visit her, but then I have to lie to go. Well, I'm just going to stay at friend's place and things like that, and it became very uncomfortable, right, for a 15-year-old to come up with new lies all the time when that was to happen. So, and I guess after that, after about a month or so, Mum said, "Oh, do you want to come visit me in Australia? This is an innocent thing. Would you like to?" And I said, "Well, I'd love to come and visit. How can we make it happen? But I can't just come to Australia, right? I need passport, I need a lot of different things, right? That my parents in Indonesia need to sort out for me as a minor, right? So I called my dad. He was in Singapore at the time on the ship. Said it was very difficult to actually say, what do you say? What do you say to your dad? So I remember clearly, I just picked up the phone to him and I said, Dad, I found Mum. Those are the only thing I could say. I found Mum. It's not like Mum found me. I found Mum. It kind of felt right because it felt like I've been searching. You know what I mean? Like internally, I've been waiting for that time to happen. I found Mum. He's like, what do you mean? So I told the stories, and instead of being, nice about it or things like that, I said, look, and he goes, oh, okay. I said, can I go and visit? And he pretty much says, well, if you want to go see your mum, pack up your bags and get out of my house. At 15. So I did. I couldn't, I don't know what else to do. So I then went to my stepmother and told her.
So kidnapped at 9?
Kidnapped at 3.
3. Kicked out.
Dumped on the island at 3. Right? Got picked up again at 9.
Stepmother at 9.
Stepmother at 9.
Kicked out at 15.
Kicked out at 15. So it's... yeah, I know, right? So it's like, it's one of those things. So, but it's... And even when I've come to Australia, right? Every year I actually reach out to my dad. Just go, hey, Dad, can we talk? But he's always... What you want to talk to me for? You don't know anything about life. I hate you. If I see you, I'll freaking kill you. And I'm like, okay. But from the age of 16, I kept doing that for a while. Every year I would call him again. Hey, Dad, you're still angry at me. And I could never understand why he was actually angry at me. Right? I just couldn't. I guess until I'm 44 now. Until this day, I still don't understand why he's actually angry at me. I didn't think that I've actually done anything wrong, and I didn't even say to him like, "You're an asshole. You lied to me all my life." I've never said the word, to say to him that, "Oh, you've lied to me." Never, ever. I've just accepted that as that's just a fact of life. It's happened. There's no point arguing about it. I know where he stands. I know where I stand. I guess fighting about it kind of makes no sense. He lied. Yeah, I don't need to shove that in his face. He knows he lied. Nothing was going to be achieved. So I've never said that to him. Yet he kind of hated me for some reason. It feels like he hated me for actually leaving. Right? So, and then mum sorted out all the passport, which was problematic because I didn't have any birth certificate. Never asked for a birth certificate. Never needed one. So then we got to actually get my birth certificate done. Now, how do you do that? So I think, luckily, and I say this luckily in every respect, luckily Indonesia is a corrupt country. Well, I say luckily because without that, I would have never got any paperwork. Ever. So, you know what I mean? So there's a benefit to being able to pay your way through if you can.
There's a certain efficiency to it.
There is. That actually is, it's strange, but, there is a certain efficiency to it, right? So and then I come to Australia. Life upended again. So it's almost like every 6 years.
My life must have been a cultural shock.
It is. And
where in Australia did you end up first?
Melbourne.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, then I came to North Dandenong. A stone throw away from the good old Waverley Park. With Waverley Garden Shopping Centre. Yeah, so we could walk there from my place. Yeah. Now that we're talking about this, actually, it's strange that all through my life, now when you think about it, how long have I been in Melbourne? 6 years. I've moved, right? So it seems like every 6 years, I change. Yeah.
you've just done a major move. We'll talk about that later.
I know, right? But it's like, it's. I've just realised that now. I'm going, it's something about
Be
6
interesting
years.
to see where you go in 6 years' time.
That is true, right? That is true, but it is. It seems like 6 is the magical number, right? So I'm like,
Something to
okay.
it.
So something, I don't know, something deep down might, make, have itchy feet after 6 years because of that. Maybe because, I don't know, major upheaval. So then I come to Australia, which was really good, right? Managed to get, permanent resident here and whatever else. After I was 3 months here, Mum got caught cheating on her husband. The guy who's actually been, this is Edens, the guy who's been helping her for the last 12 years trying to find her son, has been cheating on him. And her solution was, I've got to sort out my life, so pack up your bag and go back. I'm like, I can't. I can't. At the age of 16, right, doing my VCE, I'm like, I can't just pack up and leave.
Just got in.
This is turning into like a what do you call it? A psych session, right?
That's all right.
But yeah, there's another upheaval.
Fascinating story.
You
But
know,
you managed to stay in Australia.
Mm.
You didn't end up going back at 16, did you?
No, because my dad had some connections in politics here
Right.
because he was associated with
Your biological father?
Sorry?
Your biological
No.
father?
My stepdad.
Yeah.
My stepdad here.
The Edens.
Correct.
Yes.
And I got my permanent resident within like 2-3 months of being here. I got my permanent residence. So,
Right.
Which was handy. Because when Mum says, off you go now,
Yeah.
my stepdad says, you don't have to go anywhere. You can actually, because he's packed up a shit and, going, stepdad sort of gone, well, you can stay with me now. But that kind of come with conditions a bit because, they own this house together, right? He needed me to actually go to court on his side. And that was a very, very hard thing to do, right? I was 17 then, so as a 17-year-old, sitting in a family court with my stepdad, who's about to become, well, just a guy that I know, right? Because they're divorcing, right?
Yeah. It's about to become your landlord.
But to become my landlord effectively, going against my mother, and I had to tell the court to say that, well, you should give the house to him because if you don't give the house to him, where am I going to live? Right? Because I'd be out on the street.
Yeah.
So I'm very thankful to him that it must be difficult for him to actually have me around as well, right? His ex-wife's son living with him.
Did you feel used?
Not at the time.
Yeah.
I think at the time, and to be quite honest, I think Mum still resent me till this day for that.
Yeah.
Right? Because obviously she walked away with nothing, after her hard work as well, contributing to the house and so on. He got to keep the house and blah, 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 right? But did I feel used? Not at that particular time, mate, because we're selfishly, I suppose, I was thinking of myself too. Where was I going to go?
Oh, dude, I'd call that more pragmatic.
In a
Like
way,
you're keeping
yeah.
a roof over your head. Seriously, you're 17. There's nothing
Correct.
selfish about it. Like, okay.
Yeah.
So from there, is that, when did you join the army? Did you join at 17, 18?
At 19.
19, right.
Yeah. Because, so after that, I ended up staying with the stepdad, right? Call him stepdad, until I finished my VCE. And then I went to...
Oh, yeah, you went after high
I
school.
went to uni for about a year, but it didn't quite work out. I was just, just...
Not your vibe?
Not that. I was just in a very uncertain place, to be quite honest, right? And things weren't too good at home either because, for the last 2 years, all I've heard is how bad my mum is. And I can't say that she's not either because then all of these other things, when relationship break up, all the other shit start to come out, right? So it's like, and then that was just everyday thing. So it was just like, oh, I really need to get out of here. I cannot be here anymore. And then I tried to maintain a relationship with mum as well, which kind of didn't work. Until this day, it kind of didn't work. And I think I kind of put that down to there's no maternal relationship. But you know what I mean? Like, because she hadn't been... Yeah, because I'm 44 years old now, and I think, you know, I've only ever stayed with her for about maybe 5 years max out of my whole life.
Yeah.
So there's really not that bond.
Yeah.
It's quite a difficult thing, and I've been searching for that bond for a long time with her, but it's just never there.
There must be a certain level of grief too from your mum.
Look, yeah,
to have a child taken from you.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know, and I think she couldn't get too close to me either because, like, you know, even now, right, if there is a problem, her solution is to push me away. And I get it because I guess it's easier that way that she's doing the pushing rather than losing again, if that kind of makes sense. You probably can't handle that again. So I get all that. It doesn't kind of make it any easier.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I was actually in a limbo, mate. I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what I want to do with career or anything like that. And when I was at my lowest, you know, I sort of come home from uni, you know, cooked myself 2-minute noodles, sat in front of the TV, and I used to watch those, you know, those Bugs Bunny. Yeah. It used to come on at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 4:30. So that's Nickelodeon. So Roadrunners and all kind of stuff. So I'm just obsessed with them, right? Even at you know 19-year-old, I was obsessed with them. So I was just sitting there turning it on, and as soon as I turned that TV, first thing that's come up was The Army, The Edge, 13-1901.
13-1901.
Right, I remember that very, very clearly. 39. I'll never forget that. Right.
Recruiter didn't lie to you.
No. Eventually, but so yeah, The Army, The Edge, right? 13-1901.
That was it back then. Yeah. When would that be?
99.
Yeah.
Yeah, early 99.
Yeah.
It was then. So, you know, I did probably about not even a year at uni, probably a semester. I didn't even know where I needed to go. You know, take classes, or I was just lost. Right, just lost. Couldn't make friends really. You know, because I think there was always a deep fear in me to go. I didn't want to get too close to people, be too friendly, because I was going to move again, right?
Well, yeah, look at what you experienced. You only got 6 years.
Right. It's a third time now, 666 now. It must be the devil,
tick,
mate.
tick,
So, that's right. He's the devil's time right now.
Yeah. But is that what was appealing about the army to begin with? Like, because it gives you the structure, it puts a roof over your head, tells you what to do, feeds you, clothes you.
I wasn't even thinking about that, to be quite honest. I wasn't thinking about that. So I don't know what drove me to it, because at that moment, I just picked up the phone, right, called them. I think no one was answering because it was 4:30. But then, you know, I still had it in me the next day to just call again. Yeah. And then someone pick up the phone. I said, well, that's what I want. Like, can I join? What do I need to do to join? You know, all this kind of stuff. They said, oh, you can have a look at and read about us on the internet, which was quite funny. You remember the good old dial-up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't, I'm on the phone.
Yeah, it's exactly that. And then the funny things like you know, dial-up. With Dodo. Remember the Dodo? Yeah. So joining the army. So we eventually got to Collins Street. I think, is it Collins Street?
Yeah.
Yeah, Collins Street.
Still there, I think.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Collins Street, went in there.
Yeah,
they said, look, go on the internet, have a look. I'm like, okay, no worries. Hence we got the dial-up. And then went to Collins Street. And, you know, that's what the days of Top Guns. Yeah. Weren't they? Yeah, days of Top Guns. And back then I took like flying lessons and things like that. So I wanted to be a pilot, of course. Anyway, did the test, did the sitting things, you know, all that kind of stuff. Aptitude test, passed the aptitude test. I'm like, sweet, you know, no worries at all. And then I did medical. And they're like, oh, got bad news for you. I'm like, what's going on? They're like, oh, you're colorblind. Oh, fuck. You know, dreams, but no, colorblind. I'm like, well, what can I be? Can I be an engineer? No, you're colorblind.
No.
Oh, how about like I said? How about dealing with like bombs and stuff? It's like different wires, dude. Colorblind. And I'm like,
Don't cut the red wire.
yeah. And I'm like, itty bitty money mo. I'm like, oh, not that bad.
Yeah, fair call. Yeah.
Right, fair call. So they're like, oh man, I'm here now. Like I've done all this testing. What am I doing, right? So what can I be? And they're like, you know what? You can be a medic. I'm like, what the fuck's that? What's a medic? Like, you go, patch people up and things like that. I'm like, I don't even know first aid, man. And he's like, it's okay, we'll train you. I'm like, oh, I don't know about it. Medic, it doesn't sound very like army. Do you know what I mean? Like medic doesn't sound very, the green machine. No, medic, no. So, and then the recruiter says, hey, you get to meet good-looking nurses. I'm like, when do I sign? I joined. So if we went to trace back, why did you join the army? In the hope of meeting good-looking nurses.
Sold. Yeah.
Sold. Like, he's good. He knew.
And the modem was quiet forevermore.
Yeah, for a while, that's right. So,
is it true?
No, he lied. So
who'd have thought?
Take the story after that, like 3 years after that. I was 3 years or 4 years. It must have been 4 years. I was at Kapuka, Seymour?
Yeah.
Anyway, I was running my own medical centre there. I went to the big medical centre. I was just walking there. I saw his face and I'm like, sir, have we met? And he's like, yeah, we've met. And he's like, I'm the guy that signed you up. And I'm like, and then and he goes,
You just laid him out.
no, he saw ranks. So I'm like, he goes, who gave you ranks? I'm like, well, Her Majesty the Queen, sir. And I said, so can I just say something? He goes, what's that? I said, you're a liar, right? And he just said, yeah. I still remember that time. It's really good that he remembers, like 3 or 4 years later, he still remembers that.
Awesome.
Yeah, he signed me up on a lie. So
That's funny.
although I did marry a nurse in the army, so Yeah.
So what did your training involve? You would have had to go through basic up at Kapuka and then from there specialist
Yeah, correct.
training. Where was the medic training?
So the medic training was at Bandiana. You know Wagga Wagga?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where the basic and the advanced medic training took place.
Oh, okay,
so,
cool. Not far from Kapuka.
No, it's actually not.
Yeah,
no,
because Kapuka's just outside of Wagga Wagga.
Is it Wagga Wagga?
I think so.
Oh, no. The medic training took place in Bandiana, is Aubrey Wodonga.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, no, sorry, not Wagga Wagga, Aubrey Wodonga, where the lake is. Yeah. So that's where,
Cool.
so went for 6 weeks. Had blast. Had a blast. Kind of, but it was difficult though. It was hard, right? Now remember, I've been in the country for 3 years, yeah? So 3 years I've been in the country.
Did you speak fluent English at this?
No,
Point in
man.
time.
I come to Australia with no English whatsoever.
Yeah.
I stayed at home for 3 months before school.
Yeah.
How I learned English was literally watching the TV, listening to the radio, looking at newspapers, reading books. I pretty much taught myself how to speak English.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And then was good enough, thank God, to actually go to school in year 11.
Yes.
Yeah. But I had to do the ESL.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, so from Collins Street, we then had to, go to Collins Street again a couple of days later with just certain things, and then they put you up on the bus. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, put you on the bus, and then you're sitting there, and then this guy with a plume on his hat,
Emu
right?
face,
And we didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
And then he goes, introduce himself, blah blah blah. So thanks, mate. I'm not your mate. I'm a bombardier, and we're like,
This is coming into basic?
yeah, on the bus,
Yeah,
going there.
yeah.
I'm like, what
the
the
same.
hell is a bombardier?
Yeah.
Like, what? What's a bombardier? Like,
You're about to find out.
Yeah, I know, right? You're like, it was just no research on the rank structure, none of these things, right? I wasn't that kind of kid. So, It was funny. And then we got the Kapuka, and they're like, all right, any contraband? Anyone got knife? I'm like, got 1, 2. It's like, what the? I don't know what I was getting into, man. I really did not know what I was getting into.
You might have to shiv someone.
That's right. I barely speak English, and
Awesome.
so no, I got through it. And I think it was really funny. There's a few funny moments though, Kapuka.
Basic training's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the funniest ones we had, so many funny memories with that. But like on the bus ride in, we too had this corporal or sergeant, I can't remember the rank, older guy, might have been a sergeant. And there's maybe like 12 of us on the bus, picked us up the top end of Swanston Street, and you're all day on this bus driving up to Wagga Wagga.
Yep.
And you get there. And as the bus, all the way up, you're making like 8 or 9 pit stops along the way, grab some food, grab some drinks, toilets, whatever. And you're just chatting to this dude. He's just a regular guy. Oh, that's awesome. You're like, yeah, this maybe won't be so bad.
Yeah, get used to this.
And then you turn into Kapuka, and I still remember to this day, he just gets up the front of the bus, and he's like, Lucas, you're going to have to censor this. But he gets up the front of the bus, and he's like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, because we had some women on the bus too. And he's like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a fun ride. I'm now going to turn into a bit of a... Know that none of it is personal.
Well, okay, let's explain it to you.
And he's put his hat on, and he didn't take it off. Yeah, and it was that like a switch. He was just like, right, everybody up and out of the bus, grab your bags, all in your right hand. We came with all these bags because we already had our kit from the unit. I'd spent a year in the unit already, so we were issued everything from the Q store. So we got told to take it up, where normally you just come up with nothing. So we had all the guys from, there's maybe 6 of us from my unit, we had all these duffel bags. So we ended up with 2 Q records and everything. It just blew people's minds. But yeah, and you've got to carry everything in your right hand. Like, and straight in for your head shave. Lining up. Like, what the hell's going on? And but like through it, I remember getting about 3/4 of the way through, and they just mess with you in funny ways. Like towards the end of it, they kind of chill out a little bit. I remember we were in 33 platoon, and we had this little short corporal. I can't remember his name. But anyway, he came in, feisty little guy, and he's like, hallway 33. And you got to stand at attention, right up the barracks. And he's just like, all right, 33 platoon, listen up. We're like, it's going to be like instructions for tomorrow or whatever. And he just had this big piece of paper, and he's like, Chuck Norris does not do push-ups, he does earth downs. Chuck Norris does... And he just rattled off like Chuck Norris jokes, one after the other for about 15 minutes. And then it was just, this is like 10:30 at night, and he's just like, hallway 33 platoon, dismissed. And you just...
What the fuck's all that about?
You're like, okay, fair enough, stuff like that. And yeah.
No, nearly with the whole way thing. I was in 21, right?
Yeah.
So, because every morning you gotta do that, right? And then, you remember how you gotta actually go in there and then you gotta make your bed first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
But it's gotta be perfect, right?
Yeah.
It's gotta be perfect, and then room inspections and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I thought, I'll be clever. I'll sleep on the floor. So all I needed to do was put my pillow.
Yeah, nice.
Right? Put my pillow and fold the blanket. Bed's not being slept on. Perfect. Yeah. But they got a hold of that, and I'm like, oh my god, because a few other people
have been doing this for 90 years.
Exactly, and I'm like, I'll outsmart them. They must be pissing themselves. Yeah. So anyway, the next instruction is that when they call hallway 21 in the morning, you have to bring all your bed shit with you over your shoulder. I'm like, that didn't work, right? That didn't work. Yeah, because then we'd get up earlier, right? We'd get up earlier, make our beds, and then because you want it perfect, right?
Yeah.
Smiley sockses.
Did they make you clean the entire freaking barrack?
Yeah. We used to do all those things, and but then I think psychologically it got a bit too much for me because one night, in the middle of the night, I just got up, pulled my bed sheet, put it over my shoulders, ran out to the barrack, ran out to outside my door, stand there in the station and said, "Hallway 21," and everyone comes out at 2 o'clock in the morning and they're like, "What the f*** going on here?" And then I've gone back to bed. Ooh, they weren't happy. They were not happy. I was sleepwalking, right?
You got the soap and the towels the next day.
So they're like, "What the hell?" But I'm like, "I'm sorry, I was sleepwalking."
So we had something similar too. It was, maybe a bit worse, but it was so funny. We had this one guy who was like, he wasn't Russian, he was something like that. And again, we're about 2 weeks in, and did you have pajamas?
Yeah, I had pajamas. So, like, you got to change into pajamas.
Yeah. But you change when you get told to change.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Not this guy. So about 2 weeks in, and hallway 33. Come on, we're all in the same thing, except this guy. He's taken it upon himself to go in his pajamas. And they're like, straight away, they're just zooming in on him, and they're like, right, it's not one person who gets punishment.
Everyone gets punished, yeah.
They're like, right, 33 platoon, we're going to learn, And we were just like, for the next, 2 hours, it was like, PT, pajamas, right, back into uniform, right, back into PT, uniform.
You're like, oh no.
Hilarious. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
But yeah, no.
It was good.
It was
Character
good.
building.
But when you're out of it, you kind of miss it. I miss it so much, right?
I describe it as one of the best things I've ever done.
Yeah.
But I'd never do it again.
See, I'd do it again. I miss it. I don't know. I think maybe there's a transformative things where
it's freaking amazing at the end.
Oh, look.
And you get to crack a beer with your corporals and actually...
The sergeant cried. Sergeant French.
Yeah.
We had Sergeant French. Yeah. Big bikey dude, always bring his Harley to, to barrack. He cried when he let us go. It must be... That's his transformations, right? Cool. Of these kids, they're just like rowdy kids and then this disciplined bunch.
Yeah.
I remember one time I was in a hurry. We needed to go, marching through the bush with our camouflage. So I'm like, shit, I'm late. So I just grab, camouflage paint, just open it up, just put it over my face. I'm standing there. And then the corporal says, "Recruit Edens." I'm like, "Corporal, look around you." I'm like, "Okay, look around?" "Oh, well, I'm looking forward, just looking around, right? Looking around." I'm like, "Corporal, like, what colour?" And you see, in this middle of summer, I'm like, "It's brown, Corporal." He's like, "Right, why the f*** is your face green?" It's just all I had was green. He's like, "Did you not put your brown camouflage on?" I said, "I did, Corporal." He's like, "Where the fuck is it?" I'm like, "It must have camouflages into my skin."
Just scratch some of the green off, mate.
No, I said, "It must have camouflages into my skin, Corporal." And I got him, went, and then he held himself, and I thought, got him.
Maybe it did.
Right,
Maybe it did.
And then anyway, we went bush. We come back, marching in, and I saw this bed, been just turned over. All the shits are on the floor and whatnot, right? And I'm like, "Who fucking did that?" Laughing away, being a smartass. Walked in, looked at my room, no bed. And the corporal went, "Oh wait, we got a room inspection." I'm like, just like, I'm done here. Like, oh, okay, I'll take it. Just standing there, and he goes, "Recruit Edens." I'm like, "Corporal, where the f*** is your bed?" I'm like, "I have no idea, Corporal." He goes, "Did you take it with you?" "No, Corporal." "Did you leave it here when you leave?" "I did, Corporal." "What the f*** is it?" And I'm like, "I think it might be outside." "What is it doing outside?" And he just grilled me. I'm like, "Someone must have taken it there. I was the only one here. Are you saying that I took it?" I'm like, "No, Corporal." "Then who is it?" I was getting grilled, man. I'm like, oh my God, what have I got myself into? So that's funny. But after it, right, when they just catch up having a beer with themselves, they must be pissing themselves, right? You'd have to. You don't
That'd
have
be
to be
hilarious.
pissing yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be hilarious. One of the more telling ones I remember was, I don't know if they did it with you, because I went through in, it must be 7, 8, 7, I think. But at that point in time, about like 10 days in, 10, 11 days in, they would actually have a one-on-one, and they'd sit down with you, and it was then that they would actually like start backing off a little bit.
Yeah.
It was almost like this little psychological assessment that they're doing on you one-on-one.
Yeah.
And you're almost taken aback. You're like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, I had that too, yeah.
Yeah, but it's just before they give you live ammunition.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's true.
And they take you out
before
field.
they take you out.
Yeah, and they're waiting to see if you're going to turn it on yourself, or you're going to turn it on them.
And you just got to flip out, you reckon?
Yeah. So I remember up the top of the top of the range.
Yeah.
There was that.
Parapet
Again, it might have been different in your, but it was like a hard standing, but it's like an L, and you shoot down the back. So as you're shooting downrange, there'll be a vertical concrete wall behind you.
Yeah.
But there's bullet holes in the concrete. You know, what's that? And it's where recruits have turned the rifle on themselves, and bullets gone in the wall. But we saw it was maybe the second time we were down at the range. You see the weapon safety come in, because we had this one kid. I don't know how they did it, because it was so controlled at the range, where they 5 shots, they'll give you 5 bullets, you know.
That's right, yeah.
But like, he snuck through, and they're doing the clearance at the end, and takes the barrel off, looks down the barrel, puts the barrel in, slides the action forward, clear it, bang, bullet round straight into the earth, shit. And the officer's standing like 2 feet in front of him. And the dust has just gone. Poof. And this kid he's just dropped it.
He just lost it, as you would.
Yeah, shut the range down, everything. Like everyone, we had to do a full inspection, everything.
Yeah,
like that.
or you got to open up your webbing and make declarations.
How the hell that got through? Because it wasn't just a kid. It's like whoever was watching him on range wasn't paying attention as well.
Or maybe they.
It's like you're giving him 5, he shot 4.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah.
But that was wild. We had another kid who was stoking a fire out bush, and he was moving the little. Remember, you get those little, like briquettes that had heat in the water, but they don't really have a flame.
Yeah.
He's like moving one of them. He didn't get a stick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Grabbed a freaking bullet. He's poking it with a bullet. The thing's on fire.
Freaking idiot.
Mate.
Yeah.
You know. Natural selection. But you see some stuff. But no, it was interesting. And hey, how was, like, in 99?
Yeah.
How was your experience in the army going in as an Indonesian at that point in time? Did you experience any mistreatment, prejudice, anything like that, or you just kind of? What was the vibe back then?
Not in the basic training. I experienced it during my medical training, my basic medical training. Right. Actually, there was this one corporal that no matter what I did, right, he would just, even if I was 100% right, he would just go, "You're freaking wrong. How would you do this?" He would just yell. He would just constantly yell, right? And I didn't know why that was. But then it sort of came out that he had a bit of a racial tendencies, I guess. So I'm like, okay, it just wasn't just me, right?
Yeah.
I don't know whether that made me feel better or worse, but at least it wasn't just me, right? Well, it's the whole of us. So I'm like, okay. Main concern was not just me. That's right.
It's actually just your face.
That's correct.
Yeah.
But then when I got once I hold the rank of corporal for about a year or so, he got busted down back to private. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's all right. I'll rank him now, so that's fine. But yeah, it wasn't too much, right? Because all through in Australia, people always told me, like, oh, well, just watch out for racism, watch out for this, watch out for that. I actually hardly ever experienced that.
Yeah.
It's only that one time, when I said that corporal, and people go, well, what do you mean you don't? And I said, well, I actually never saw myself as anything other than just me, right?
Yeah.
So I never sort of go, well, I'm Asian, so I've got to just hang out with the Asians, right? I actually hang out with, a lot of the time I hang out with the Afghanis at school.
Yeah.
And a very, the reason for that is because I was really skinny and I couldn't fight my way through a wet paper bag, right, in school. And you were also, the Lebanese was just trying, the bullies were trying to pick on me all the time. So I'm like, well, if they're picking on me, I need to befriend people that, wouldn't mind beating them up. I'm like, okay, so the Afghanis love a fight, right? So that's how I actually become friends with a lot of Afghanis. One of my best friends now, saw him last night, he's an Afghani. He's little, right, but he loves to fight. He'll fight anyone. So then if anyone would pick on me, they would just go, woof. I'm like, hey, that's my security team. So it kind of worked out for me. So that was really cool. But yeah, so I kind of never really experienced that kind of racism. Now, whether I was blind to it, or maybe because I don't highlight myself as anything other than just me, and like, does that
you're
make
not
sense?
defining yourself that way.
No,
I actually think it does, mate. Like my experience was extremely limited, but for Macy, come. But for what it's worth, come. Happy. Yeah, like our unit, we had a rabbi as a it escapes me now. It's not a pastor.
Chaplain, yeah.
I don't know why that escaped me. But yeah, awesome guy.
Yeah.
I went through basic with guys who got halal ration packs.
Yeah.
No one cared.
No,
No one cared because you're all there for the same reason.
Correct.
It's like you're going like, cool. These are the guys that you're potentially going into combat in, like, because when the time you were in, so you would have joined pre 9/11, but you were in when 9/11 happened.
Correct.
Yeah.
I was in the middle of it.
So, okay, chances are you're going somewhere now.
Well, we actually
Potentially.
Our unit, when I got up in the morning, that 9/11 happened, right? So I saw that, and I said to my girlfriend at the time, I said, she was in the military as well, I said, get up, get your DP1, put it all in the car, this is serious.
Yeah.
So anyway, we couldn't get into the unit without being verified of who you are. So we got to the unit. We didn't go home for 3 days. We actually packed all of our containers, our ambulances, everything was packed, and we were just waiting. And the words from the powers to be was that we were just waiting for the Americans to say move.
Yeah.
And that's what it was.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Luckily, it didn't happen within those couple of days, but we didn't go home for 3 days. We were on high alert. So, but yeah, I think back to the racism side of things, I've always held this belief that if I see myself as Asian, right, it's my heritage, but not necessarily who I am, if I see myself as Asian and behave like an Asian, then I can't really complain too much when people treat me like Asian. Does that kind of make sense? Like, it seems so logical, right? But if I just see myself as just a normal dude, right, and you just get treated like a normal dude, because I think people respond to how you portray yourself too, right? So, and if you're just going around only speaking in your own language and not trying to assimilate, I think that's part of the issues, I believe.
There's a balance there.
Yeah, people just, now in Melbourne, you got these pockets where, and it kind of, it was there when I grew up, like, back in the 90s, late 90s, sorry, 96, 97, 99. But there are pockets of, like Afghanis would live certain areas, but it's kind of more, I feel like it's more pronounced now.
Yeah, it's like it's hardening.
Yeah, like the Vietnamese would go to, Footscray or St. Albans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Dandenong now is no longer Dandenong, it's Little Kabul. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, and then when people migrate, they go to that pocket. Whereas they're more spread out back then. I think people assimilate better, I think. Yeah. So I never saw myself as anything other than just me being me. The fact that I'm Asian, that's just my heritage and not me. So, yeah.
When the Australian Army moved into Timor, were you called up for your language skills?
No. This conversation kind of never happened.
Yeah.
That conversation happened. There was an intelligence analyst that actually came and spoke to me when I was in Timor, you know, and to see if I was interested, you know, to join, you know, join the dark side. But yeah, it never kind of eventuated because for some reason, because they want to know all of this family history, they don't just get whatever, you know, names and things like that. And yeah, I didn't get.
Yeah, they'll be going back through. Like, I think the secret clearance is
10 years back.
It's at least a decade that you have to verify.
Correct, and decades. You know, I give my Indonesian things, where is your mother's maiden name, where were they born, you know, all this kind of stuff. We kind of did, and I didn't get past that period. I'm like, okay,
I got this dodgy birth certificate.
Probably is right. Dodgy birth certificate. So, but I guess it's real enough, but you know, the information in there was just what we told them. So I guess
they would have asked for your browser history, mate.
Yeah, probably did too, right?
Denied.
Yeah. Give me your modem. But yeah, so that was East Timor was actually quite interesting. So because I didn't know really fully. I didn't know the family history of Granddad being in East Timor in 75 until I've gone to East Timor. And then my family sort of knew that I was in East Timor. So my whole family really went against my decisions going to the army. Because they remember that Granddad's word. Remember? They go,
explicitly
says
anyone.
no descendant of mine, right? Don't let any descendant of mine ever join the military. No, I just took it upon myself to think, well, he meant Indonesia, right? He didn't mean Australia, surely. So, you know, that was...
Didn't specify.
He didn't specify. There was the clauses there. So, I guess, and I'm glad I did go to East Timor. It's kind of... And I'm glad I was part of the contingency that assisted, you know what I mean, their independence and things like that. You know.
What has your time in the army taught you... I'll rephrase, sorry. What did your time in the army teach you that has helped you raise your family as well as start and manage businesses? What's like the lessons there that have transposed into the other walks of life?
But I think if anything was the tenacity side of things, right? And that's one of it. And the other thing is just be like you can only prepare so much, right? Like you can only prepare so much.
No plan survives HR.
No. Yeah. So the military sort of thought that every plan that we kind of made, it's only good for about 70% of it, right? You spend so much time planning.
It's going to go wrong.
And then you know at some stage it's going to go wrong. And we trained so hard to do the actions on, right? Remember the actions on? Like actions on this, actions on that. It's the outside things, right? If things don't go to plan, the action is this and that and that. We trained so much on that. So I think through family as a dad, right? Like, you know, I used to go, why do I worry so much about my kids? But then I go, well, if I don't worry so much about my kids, I'm not doing a good job, right? If I don't worry about my children, I'm not doing a good job. I should worry, right? You know,
but you can't worry so much.
Correct.
There's a balance
the point, there. Right? Yeah. There's the point. And then I also go, I try so hard for the children to like me because I'm still a human. Just because I'm a dad, I'm a human being that like to be liked. So I want my children to like me. But then they can only like me so much, right? I can be their friend only so much.
Yeah.
I got a parent.
But it doesn't mean you can let them get away with it.
Correct, but only so much because that's a point when you become abusive, right? So you don't want to get that point. And sometimes you question yourself and go, you know, have I been too harsh? And then you kind of adjust a little bit. So I think if I didn't have my time in the army, I don't think I'd be able to actually make the quick necessary changes that I need to. And I think, you know, working with you for the last, 4 years now.
Yeah.
Man, that's a long... That's 4 years, right?
Yeah.
We've known each other, right? Seriously. I think we've able... When you said, you know, we need to make this change quick, we did it and become successful at that change. I think without that military experience and education, I think I'd procrastinate too much.
Yeah, agree.
You know?
For me in business, just that simple order structure, the SMEAC order structure, would incorporate that into engagements in the business. You would have seen the first one. Was
absolutely.
Hey, here's the situation about the business. Here's the mission for what we're just one sentence of what we're trying to achieve. Here's what we're looking to do to execute it. Administration, command, cool, go.
Yeah. Because, you know, we plan
all
so
in
much.
all in a page. And you
Correct.
can't plan for every eventuality. It's just going to go wrong. It's the same with the financials. We'll look at, okay, cool, we're going for, there's certain things that really matter and some that are, okay, well, let's watch out for, but it's not game changing. But you get what really matters. Cool, the rest you can work in. But as long as it's trending in the right direction, okay, cool. Or if it didn't work, cool, why? Taking that time, that you know, whatever the training exercise was, an amazing thing in the military is they would make the time to debrief on what's happened. Right, this you did really well, but this and this you got to improve. Cool. And there was a wonderful structure around that. I was trying to do the same thing. Hey, right, end of the month, end of the quarter, end of the year, cool. Hey, financially, what did we hit? What did we not? Why? What do we do about it? What can we do about it?
Yeah, and
so
there was like no nonsense approach. You just say it how it is, right? Because it's people's life, I guess, you know. Like, you know, we deal so much.
You have to.
You know, when we go on patrol, we train so much, like, you know, bang. But what do? Like, obviously, you're not planning to be shot at.
Yeah.
And now you are. And then that training sort of kicked in. You know what I mean? And I think, so that and the confidence to actually go,
if you can do that, what else can you do?
Yeah, and how do I say it? One of the biggest things I think is the confidence to execute, knowing that it might not even be right. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Like the confidence to just have an action.
Yeah, execution
to just
beats strategy.
do something, you know? Do something, and then we change it if it doesn't work halfway through. And I think looking at my circles in the past, you know, as people, we tend to find, you know, we want things to be as perfect as we can, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, so when people say to me, oh, I'm a perfectionist, I go, well, are you a perfectionist or are you just a procrastinator? Like, do you know what I mean?
It's usually not appropriate.
It's a fine line,
take
right?
it too far.
Because there's no, I don't believe there's such thing as being a perfectionist, right? Because things always change. I think the military side of things teaches you to go, there's not such thing as perfect plan. You can only plan so much. You make your mud model, but you do it, you know, with the best intention and the best ability that you've got to plan, knowing that it's going to go wrong at some stage and just executing what needs to be executed when it doesn't go right. So I think that also enables us to actually go, and at times, as you know, you've experienced it with us, stressful time. But then we go, okay, let's, you know, we always go, and after every incident, you know how you sort of sit down and take, you take account of what you got, how many bullets you got. You know, do you still have this? You take account of what's going on, and you go, okay, this is where we are. So I think in my family life and the business side of things, after every incident, and we've done it many of times, after every incident, we go, okay, let's take account on what we still have.
Yeah.
Still got my wife, still got my kids, still got my business, still got my family, still got my health. Okay.
Yeah. Take a knee, and there's actually a grounding.
You know what I mean?
Because it
like,
focuses you on what you do have instead of what you don't have. Right. And then it's like, okay, cool. Based on what I do have, how do I proceed now?
100%.
Relative to your goal. Because you've got to have a goal, you've got to have a direction that you're going for. That's your mission and a desired end state. And then you can orientate towards that. And based on what you do have, hey, cool, now tactically, how do you begin to get there? Taking those little iterative steps.
I think knowing those early and recognizing what you do have and don't have early it actually helps navigate things through a lot easier, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean, I don't mean that by no stresses still. You
No.
still worry, you still have stress. You still
But it
have
helps you
bad days.
prioritise because it
think
sorts
so.
out a whole heap of... It can, if done right, it can help you focus on what is most needed.
Yeah.
There are certain things, sometimes, like when we started working together, that your business had to turn.
Yeah.
You know, it was...
Yeah, but I think that
certain
was
things that just had to get done. It's like, okay, cool, that's what matters. And now all of a sudden, anything that's not that, cool, you basically ignore it. You know?
And I guess so. That's a good point that you brought up. I guess another one lesson is that you trust in the hierarchy, right? So when we started working together, I was lost, right? It doesn't mean I stopped doing. I kept doing, but it's just the wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
It needed leadership to go. Let's pause. Let's do this. It needs to be done. This is what we need to do. I still executed it, but it's just got a better directions, right?
Yeah.
So I think the military teaches you to actually have faith and trust. You know what I mean? Yep. Someone's taking leadership. Okay, I'm trusting in that leadership to go that we can
There's a
get through
plan.
this. Correct. There's a plan. Now, none of us knew, even in the business that we started working in 2020, none of us knew how it was going to be. But I think having a plan helped. Taking into account what we still have help, and then going through the worst case scenario. And I think we made a comment to each other, right? They goes, oh well, still, no matter what happened, I'll still have my birthday. You know, forged document it was, right? Still have my birthday.
I think the
right?
line was there's always prostitution.
It probably was, right? It's always jiggle work. And Anita, I think, said, well, but we'll lose more money if we actually go into prostitution. So, but you know, so it's interesting because there's a lot of lessons in there that you sort of take through life, right?
Yeah.
Without knowing that they're
I
formally.
found that fascinating. Like, I think the military does such a disservice to itself in its recruitment by not selling that message that there is actually so much in the training that you carry through life in ways you can't comprehend while you're in it getting yelled at.
It's probably not exciting to sell that, right? Showing videos of shooting camels with a
you get to hang out with hot
50
nurses.
on a helicopter.
Sign.
Sign.
You'll thank me in 20 years.
That's right. You know,
I don't know.
and I think I'm a great believer, Dave, that you know, knowledge and things like that. You can't attain knowledge sometimes when you're ready for it, right? Or attain wisdom when you're ready for it. Now, if I talk to you about these sort of things 5 years ago, it's a different perspective to what I am today, right? I've had nervous breakdown before, right? And I had to look at myself in the mirror and goes, I actually don't like that person, and I need to make the change.
Yeah.
But I think I don't think that without the military sort of experience and the discipline, and you know what I mean, and just tough it out. Even just like doing PTs, man, the number of times that I just want to go collapse, right? But you just keep going. You're still breathing. You just keep going.
Oh man, that's a big part of business. Like, just continuing to show up.
Just doing something is better, right?
Yeah. Just not quitting. Cool.
So, and that was the thing. So even personally or business, we just turn up, right? Even 4 years ago, we just turn up every day. We execute on a daily thing.
And the other one I like,
So
too, like, thinking about what I just said about not quitting. Yeah, it's true. But I think a great thing in the military that teaches you is the old tactical retreat.
yeah,
You know, you think it's going to be you got them 3-1, and it turns out
I was gonna say we
it's a
need
bunkered
3-1
machine
advantage,
gun,
right?
And
Yeah.
they got tanks in it, and they got air superiority, and so it's like, cool, you're getting the hell out.
Yeah.
We got to stop the
Yeah.
attack. Cool. Does the mission change? No. Tactically, how you going to do it? Yeah. Different thing. Hey, we're backing out and we're dropping artillery on that, or whatever. And you've got to be able to do that in business. You think, hey, I'm going to invest in Google ads to grow, and you try that, and you're not just throwing everything at it and then it doesn't work, so you throw more at it. Doesn't work, throw more at it. It's like, no, let's take an iterative step, see if it works. so on and
your
so
data,
forth. Do we
yeah.
Watch it. Let's try a few different things. Okay, that one worked. That one actually. Let's go heavy on that. But hey, no, it's not working. Back out. It's cool. Yeah, there's a time to quit. Are you still trying to grow your business? Absolutely. You're not quitting on that.
Yeah.
You're just changing tactics in order to get there, and not being so committed that you end up burning a whole heap of resources around it. I see a lot of clients that make that mistake where they've probably more so with people. They just hire the wrong person, but it's very, very difficult to see. And they end up burning a lot of cash in the process, hoping that they'll change or whatnot, where often their instinctive response after, honestly, they usually see it in the first 30 days. Almost their instinctive response eventually just comes home to roost.
Funny you mentioned that. I had one of my clients come for coffee and lunch today, and we just had a bit of a chat, talking about business and whatnot. He's a friend also. He's like, look, I just got this issue with this one guy, X, Y, and Z, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I was like, "Mate, you've made a decision already, right? The fact that you're actually talking to me about this and not necessarily happy, you're outlining to me all of these problems. I think you've actually made a decision, but you're trying to justify it to yourself what action to take to make yourself feel better. It ain't gonna be one.
Yeah.
So you might as well just cut it, man.
Just do it.
So then, he went back to the office and texted me later and goes, I've done it. I'm like, look, I don't feel good for the other guy getting fired, but you know what I mean? Decision's already made.
Got to do what you got to do. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think, and I had to learn that the hard way too, where we kind of not procrastinate, but I think more so that we hate affecting people's life in a bad way.
Yeah.
And that's probably the biggest thing, right? Because we do care.
And no bigger environment for that than in the military, particularly as you go up in rank, where you're going to be... There's a very real scenario here where you're going to be asking guys underneath you and around you to
do unsafe things.
To do extremely unsafe things. Some might not be coming back.
Yeah. Either physically or psychologically, right? I've had a bunch of medics underneath me, and we've gone to some horrific places, right? People getting burned and things like that, and you think, these guys may never recover psychologically from all this, but you have to do it, right? The job needs to be done. I think that... But no, I'm very, very thankful for my military education. I categorically say that without being in the military, I could have been anything. Like I reckon, I don't think I'd be where I am today, right? Without the military, and I have everything to. I guess I owe the military, everything, really. And one of the biggest things that the military gave me, which I did not have in any part of the world, was family. Right? When my own family actually kicked me out for reasons that are not... I didn't do anything, you know what I mean, for them to behave that way. The military actually welcomed me after a phone call with open arms, trained me, fed me, clothed me. There's instant friends because you're in the, to use the analogy, you're in the trenches together, you're experiencing the same thing.
You create a bond that is so, trust, time, you just thump.
Correct.
Straight to the top, high 100%. Trust, low time, you just bang, because you're doing hard things together.
Yeah.
And you have to work as a team. You can't show up either to basic or nursing or how you get deployed. You're not going to be doing that on your own. No way.
And everyone's got a role that contribute to the bigger
You've got to trust each other. You've got to depend on each other.
Even when there's no mum or dad, your corporals become your dad. Like it really is hard to. It's funny to say it now because it's true. Some of them are actually younger than you, or some of them just 1 or 2 years apart, but they become your big brother. And any problem, remember when any problem, the corporal, even in a civilian life, even when you're not, doing things in the military, you go out of a night time and you get yourself in. You call your corporal first, right? Like that's, and it's that. I think that really turned things around. So I don't know where I'd be without the military. And I mean that in a very grateful sort of way to the military. And I think, and I'm thankful for the Australian way of things, the Australian military that would take me on when I could barely speak English, and this skinny old kid, skinny young kid that knows nothing about this country. It's a big trust as well to put them in the military and then,
Totally.
train them as a medic and now working on their citizens. It's like, it's
pretty cool.
And I joined in as a permanent resident. I wasn't even a citizen.
Yeah, right.
So I got made citizens while I was in the army. And that's another thing. It's either desperations or it's just meant to be, right? from their side. But but I found
Maybe a bit of both.
found the family that
Yeah.
and when I left, I kind of felt lost a bit.
Yeah. A lot of guys do.
Yeah. When I left in the army, I tried to find that family again and then getting into relationships after relationships and just wasn't working out.
Yeah. It's not the same.
There was always something missing, right? And all I ever wanted was family. And hence now, I'm sure we get into it later, finding my wife now, having our kids.
Yeah.
Family.
Let's get into it now.
Yeah. Oh, okay. What do you want to know?
Well, yeah. So your wife Anita, you and Anita, I guess, because I see you, Anita, and the kids and the business is so intertwined.
Yeah.
So when did you and Anita decide to start Skylar Safety?
That was late 2018.
Yeah, it's
Right.
pre-COVID.
Yeah, pre-COVID. So we started middle of 2019 because I was working for what now is our competitor. It was born out of Anita's frustrations, really. I was general manager for, one of our competitors now. And I was flying around the country a lot. So I remember Anita saying, you know what, darling, I know you need to do this for work and to feed us and blah, blah, blah. And she's working as well. But she said, but if I'm going to be a single mother, and these are her words, if I'm going to be a single mother, you might as well try and do it for our own money. I'm like,
Wise woman.
yeah. That's and for the first time I think, and prior to that, prior to moving to Melbourne, we were living in Perth, right? And I flew to Melbourne, and that night, if anything could happen, everything was just going to happen, right? I got here midnight, pick up the car, driving somewhere, right? The car just stopped in the middle of nowhere, nothing, just no reception, just, my God, it was just, I was walking to get reception in the middle of the night, in the middle of, nowhere. I was really, really frustrated. And by the time I got the car started again, I got to accommodation, no one's booked it, they forgot it, I'm just like, whoa, this is just ridiculous. And then I got in, and there's just no food. I'm just in a bad place, right? I'm tired, I'm cranky, I'm hungry. I called my wife, I said, darling, I don't think I can do this anymore. She said, get in the car, turn around, I'll book you a flight straight back home. And I said, but we got mortgage, right? We got kids. Like, how do we feed ourselves? I need this job. So she says, you know what? We'll work it out, right? I don't like seeing you like this. I'd rather you be home with us.
Yeah.
And you know what? I kept going for a bit longer because just the fact that she's able to do that and say that to me and says, we'll work things out, right? I'd rather you be here. That actually pushed me forward and goes, all of a sudden, after that conversation, I don't feel the tiredness. I don't feel, hungry and things like that. I just said, you know what? I think I'm just going to go to bed if that's okay.
Yes.
And then I'll talk to you in the morning. And it just calmed me down. And actually, the fact that someone's willing to sacrifice that and say that we'll just work it out, it actually made me push harder.
Yeah.
Because I never want to disappoint this woman. Like, does that kind of make sense? Like, it actually, it had the opposite effect.
Yeah.
Instead of me flying in, it had the opposite effect.
Yeah.
And all I needed to know was to have someone in my corner because for so long, and I met Anita 10 years ago, right? So when I was 33, yeah. So, you know, for so long, since I was 3, basically, right?
Yeah.
Just really needed someone that I could depend on. And I've never had that until the age of 33. And that's a long time trying to find that, right? Through all the tribulations, different, you know, experiences and whatnot. So, and I think, you know, that was the moment I go, yep. So once he said, a year later, he said, look, don't mind you flying around, but we can do it for our own money. I'm like, okay. That's when I go,
Let's give it a crack.
I'm done, right? I'm going to do this on my own, and so on.
How did you start?
with difficulties. So we start, right? We literally, when we start, we needed money, right?
Yeah.
So I swear to God, we probably go through every single glove box compartment just to find every dollar that we got, right? Managed to pull 20 grand. So I'm like, it's amazing, right? Like, whew, we managed to pull 20 grand together.
Yeah. Working capital, they call
Working
that.
capital and all that, right? And we had 4 kids there. Skylar was born.
Yeah.
Just after Skylar was born, the business starts, right? After we paid for the facility.
So you're starting a business with 4 kids.
4 kids and 20 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah. And no family, no help, right? So after we paid for the bond, the first month's rent for the facility and all that kind of stuff, right? Some equipment, we literally had $500 left. And we're like, how are we going to do this?
And just to be clear, this is safety training for wind turbines.
No. So it is just safety training, general.
Ah, okay, right. You hadn't specialised at that point.
No.
Yep.
So anything and everything, right? So my days would be, I would go door knocking. I would literally print out some pamphlet in the middle of the night. The next morning, I would literally go around and door knock. Putting these, and we got a business, right? And then first month, I think we invoiced like $5 grand. We're like, yes! It's like rock and roll, like 5K. And then 5K turns into 10Ks.
Yeah.
We're like, we doubled it. Like, amazing.
And what was your market share at July close in the Australian renewable market?
79.8%.
Yeah. Total market share in Australia.
Total market share in Australia.
Yeah.
So that's 60.
And that's of all safety training for wind.
For wind, yeah.
Turbine. Yeah.
For the wind industry.
Safety training in wind industry.
So yeah, so that's how we started, and yeah, it was bit by bit. But then after month 3, what we were doing is that we were going into it, but we did say to ourselves that we're gonna give ourselves 6 months. If the 6 months does not work, we were gonna go back to Western Australia, because at least we have our own house there, right? So we were gonna go back to the Western Australia and live there and then work there. At least we don't have to pay rent.
Yeah, you got a fallback.
Whatever. We got a fallback plan. So we actually had we obviously we dream big. We dream of what could be, but we also made sure that we had a timeline of, if we don't reach certain milestone by a certain time, we were going to do something about it. And I think back to that military thing we were talking about, that I think without the military things, it's very hard to do that, right? So, because we'll always think about the sunshine. It's not the...
Yeah, you actually have to hold 2 thoughts in your mind at the same time. You're trying to win, but you have to think of a fallback.
Yeah, without that overtaking the motivations, right?
Yeah.
So it's a balancing act. So, and then come month 3, we was just too many competitors in our space, and then we looked
because you were general.
We were general, right?
Yeah.
And we're competing against, when you're talking about working at heights, how many companies in Melbourne does working at heights? It might be like nearly 200 companies. Like, how are you going to compete with that as someone just coming into the industry? No what do you call it? No capital at all to do any advertisement, to do any of these things. Nothing, right? And Anita would be doing the admin side of things. I'd be doing the training. That's how we were, just working as a team. And all I wanted, is that to cover my wages that I used to have. That was it. No big grandeur of things. As a step one, this is what we want to do. If we get to that point, we're good, right? At least we can sustain ourselves like we used to. So, yeah, so that's that. And then 3 months come into it, we said, look, we cannot compete. We cannot be the little fish in a big bowl. We can't, right? We get eaten. So then we looked at what industry is actually growing. So 2 things in my thought. What is the industry that is growing, right? That need more people to be trained, that we can focus on and get really, really good at very, very quickly. Because time is of the essence. We don't have a lot of money to burn. We don't have any money to burn. So we need to be, I guess, one of the main player very, very quickly with low capital. So we sort of selected wind because when we looked at it, and it was a simple math, right? When we were doing working in the heights, we would be charging, call it $300. But then when I did Google analysis and go, how much is per click? Sometimes during the day, up to $9 per click. It's ridiculous. And on average, people could be spending about $180 or $200 to get a $300 course. To me, it doesn't make sense. And also, if I was going, so for me to make it worthwhile, so I need 10 people in the classroom, right, per day to make $3,000, because we're not training every day. We're small, right? So if we were doing 1 course or 2 courses a week, I need the course to be filled. Now, when I looked at the analytics side of things, to get 10 people, you might have to reach out to 100 people, 120 people. That's a lot of clicks. That's a lot of money. Right?
It won't work at those margins. You never take off.
Right. It's just never going to take off. We don't have the capital, right, to actually take off. So I'm like, this is never going to work. And then my strategy was going to be, what is it that kind of industry where, yes, there's a small number of people, but it's growing, so it can sustain itself for the next 5 years, 10 years, where I could charge a lot of money because people don't come in just to do 1-day courses. I want to hold them for 3 days or 4 days. And be very highly specialized. Wow, everyone was talking about wind, right? The renewable boom and all this kind of stuff. So we looked into it. We, start planning for it. Got our accreditation. And yeah. And our first course, is a funny thing, the first course that I ever ran, right, paid for the audit.
Yeah, awesome.
So, and yeah, here we are.
Yeah. Knowing what you know now, what would you have told yourself back in those early days? If you could take something that you know now and apply back to when you started.
Do what you did. That was,
you wouldn't really change it?
No, for me, I think. Look, I've always had this thing about changing things. I am sitting here today, I guess, through those experiences as well, right? So I think if I was to change something, I don't know what that different result is going to be. It might be good or it might be bad, or I'm actually content with the journey that's taken place. That kind of makes sense. Of course, there's a little tweaking things on, financials and this and that, how you do things. But if we were to look at core fundamental things, would you? I don't know, because it led us to for instance, in our value relationship, right? I very much value our relationship with you. But if we change things, this would have happened.
Yeah.
Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah. I know what you mean.
It's more like,
what you mean.
This is why when, on your notes we talked about maybe a religious side of things. This is what I kind of like the Buddha's teaching. That was your journey. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's almost kind of said,
If I was to flip it though, and looking at your journey to extract lessons perhaps for other people on their journeys, in my mind, some of the things there would be around, hey, if you're starting a business and your business required equipment, staff, premises, it's reasonably capital intensive, hey, being across your numbers at the start and earlier on, and what does that actually mean? Hey, to do your whole setup and be left with $500, like, you made it, but you're undercapitalized.
100%.
Massively. And then also, hey, during COVID, all these different things going on, not being across your figures, coming out the other end of it, we've connected off the back of that. Yeah. And then, hey. True. So I think something about being across your figures, if you're in business, you really have to be. I think so many guys, in my experience, aren't. So, and the earlier you get across them, the better.
Probably get an education on that early, right? And understanding what that actually means. I agree with you. I think, would you change the way you do it?
Also the right advisors and people around you too.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that for myself, but like we changed accountants, we changed bookkeepers. You had other employees in the business who did not turn out to be who you thought they were, unfortunately, and so on and so forth. And I think, like, if you're going into business, this is just the lay of the land. You're going to encounter things like that, but these are certainly things to watch out for. The old adage, hire slow, fire fast. I'd say having a plan. Because when we started working together, the moment that you could see your figures and you had a plan, it's like, bang, you could start directing action. Because it's not, as you said earlier, it's not that you were doing nothing, but you were doing things you were highly efficient at things that were actually ineffective.
It's the right activities.
Yeah.
I think that's
but trying to separate that noise. Yeah. I don't know what it is, because it's your journey, but I think for you and Anita to do what you did while you have a family of 5, I was like, there's some huge lessons in there for people, because I love coming around to your place for dinner on the weekends, the old mahjong game or something.
And the old hot pot,
Yeah, hot pot. Still don't know what to do with hot pot, but all the kids, all of them have this wonderful balance where they all get on, but they're all their own individual people. They've got their own personalities, and I would describe them as they are themselves, but you can see that there's very clear rules, barriers, guardrails, boundaries. Yeah, they bump into them. Cool, they're corrected in course. But hey, anything in here kind of goes. And it's a wonderful dynamic to see. And it seems to me, as an outsider looking in, that you've done something. You and Anita have done something really cool here, where the stress of the business, and the pressure of the business, hasn't impacted that. That you've raised a family at the same time as doing that.
Yeah, and look, I think from the very earlier on, there's an absolutely deliberate reason why we call it Skylar. Right? It's to remind ourselves.
It's your youngest daughter.
Yes.
Skylar.
It's my youngest daughter.
Yes.
She's 6 now. That's business 6 years old, right?
Yeah,
She's 6.
Yeah.
So there's a deliberate reason, so that is my motivation. The children are actually my motivation. The reason why I do what I do is to provide for my children, to give them the best education, the best life that I could have within those boundaries, you know what I mean, without being too spoiled and so on, right? So even though the stresses of the business, I don't sort of take that home to my children because they are the very reasons I'm doing this for. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, it's a really cool grounding.
I'm a simple, listening to, remember back to my stories of how I was raised. We had nothing, literally nothing. So, we become very inventive. So I could live with nothing, and be happy doing so. I can be very simple. Doesn't mean I don't like the finer things in life. Of course, we all do. But we can be very simple. So, but the children. So every time I get up in the morning, especially when during the stress times like audit or things like that, get in the shower and I just go. The reason I'm doing this is for the children. So when I see the children, playing and having a good times and stress free, that actually calms me down.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that because just recently, like you and I, over the past 9-12 months, have had several conversations and it eventually led to the family doing it, where we were talking about the kind of household expenditure, the household budget required for a family of seven in Melbourne versus Indonesia, and can the business operate without you here? And just recently you've picked up and moved the entire family to Jakarta.
Yeah, absolutely.
How was that? Moving a family internationally and re-establishing. 6 years as well.
6 years. I know, right? It's actually 6 years. Yeah, it's funny now. Well, maybe that's ingrained. I've never really looked at that before, but maybe that is a thing, right? So, it's how can I say it? Stress is not the right word because I think we just accepted there was going to be stresses, right? So I don't think it's any more or any less. It just is, right? Rewarding. I think it's because through doing that, my wife Anita and I, we're so in sync on what we want as parents to our children, what the experiences that we want our children to have, and what we're willing to do to actually provide that for them. Right? So moving to Indonesia, household budget here, family of 7, is horrendous, right? It really is. Housing. We need 5-bedroom house.
We had to catch up and go through the numbers of the household to correct for the performance of the business to make sure one could feed the other.
Absolutely.
And that's what led us to be like, you came up with the idea, like, maybe this is cheaper in Indo.
It is. Yeah. And we started doing research on it and whatnot. And
we decided to do a reconnaissance trip. Yeah. You went up there, checked it out.
Correct.
Yeah.
But one of the, once again, back to that grounding of children, right? Regardless of what the expenses was going to be, 2 things was going to be most important: our children's educations and health. Right? Those were the grounding factors. So when we did our reconnaissance, we actually looked at a few different schools and whatnot, and they're going to the schools where they go now because we believe through results and research and things like that, that's some of the best schools in Jakarta. Yeah. And we always believe that if we're gonna upend our children's life, it's got to be for something better. Yeah. Right? We will adjust as parents. Right? And I think we've seen our circles as well and go, they do things because it suits them and the kids need to adjust. We kind of want to do it the other way around, where we do it with the kids in the forefront, wherever that may be, and we'll adjust. You know what I mean? So, touch wood, they've been doing extremely well. I couldn't be happier with the way they've been doing. So, but you're right. The power of the dollar, your money just goes a lot further there. So, and Anita's always, it's funny, she mentioned it the other day because, we're just driving along and having a driver, you know what I mean? You're sitting in the back and having a chat with my wife. I mean, it's amazing, right? And I said, darling, how are you? I said, are you okay? Are you happy here? And how are you feeling? Talk to me. She goes, you know what? I am, because growing up, she used to watch those Chinese shows and the drama, right? The rich family and, they've got the maids, the driver and the things, right? She goes, I always wanted that lifestyle. And it's impossible to have it here, right? Unless you're just super rich.
Oh,
right?
it's another level. Yeah.
It's another level. So to actually be able to achieve that childhood dream that she had, now she's happy because
living the dream.
Think, living the dream. Yeah. And you could actually, we could get the right help for our children at a fraction of the cost. Right? And we believe that we put them into a better educational system because the kids, especially my oldest daughter, she goes, well, she wants to be a lawyer and she wants to study in some of the most prestigious university, right? And we started thinking, for her to do that, she needs to go into an IB school, International Baccalaureate School. Here in Australia, they start at about 50K a year, right? Now, if I have one child, absolutely no problem. I have 5.
5? Yeah, it's $250,000.
But yeah,
just in school fees.
Well, on after-tax money, right?
After tax. Yeah,
Exactly.
and at that rate, you're paying 49%.
Correct.
Top marginal.
So it's difficult, right? And we're trying to grow two things. I think the thing was, we're trying to grow two things. We're trying to grow the family and we're trying to grow the business. And
one's got to keep up with the other.
But we see it from month to month, right? So either a family doesn't, business does, and then you flip, and we're playing catch up, right? We're playing catch up. So I think with this move, and we've seen it for 2 months, and things are kind of settling down a bit. So we'll see over the next quarter how that be. But I think, are the kids getting the best education we can provide for them? Tick. Yeah. Are they getting, the help? Tick. Are they getting the experiences with culture, going back to my roots, right? No matter how difficult it was still my culture and I miss it. Tick. Are they, exposed to different types of people that comes from all part of the world into this international school? Tick. Are we, giving the foundation for them to be able to study anywhere in the world as they want to? Tick. Are we reducing costs at the same time for our family? Tick. My wife's living her best life as she dreamed of as a kid. Tick. Then the next challenge was going to be, will the business perform?
And that's what we're watching.
Yeah. And I think
but we put the systems and processes in place so that we can watch for that, step in if need be. But
correct.
And we tested it prior.
Yeah, and we have tested it prior. Yeah. And I think and as you remember, we spent a lot of time and effort in making sure that we've got transparency across the business through system. Right?
And look, that's going to have to evolve as you grow, but it's an exciting future. Like, what are some of the opportunities that you see for the business being in the Asia Pacific region? What's happening in the region, zooming out from a renewable energy perspective?
The world and Asia has always been seen as, it's a dirty economy, right? Meaning that the power that is generated generally from coal or oil, that's changing. So the Asia that I think people are accustomed to is changing, right? It's developing fast. A lot of the manufacturings are coming down to Southeast Asia from China because of, obvious reasons. And as China's, lower middle income earners keep earning more money, labor is not as cheap anymore. Southeast Asia still provide that labor. Now, okay, the proficiency of those labours are quite low at the moment, but they'll catch up, right? And all that transformation needs power. And it is no longer politically popular to keep burning coal, right? So they have to come up with something else. So this is why countries like Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia to a certain point are really heavily looking into investing in renewable energy, right? Wind is one of the best, I guess, one of the cheapest, right, form of renewable energy out there. and that can be built, in relatively quicker time than other forms, especially in Asia, where ironically we're trying to fix the environment, but these things just get built with less consideration for the environment, but not as much red tapes as it is here in Australia. In if that kind of makes sense, right?
So sort of without the red tape, the speed at which you can bring megawatts and gigawatts online.
Correct.
Compared to something like, say, building a nuclear power station.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's
costly, it takes a long time.
Yeah.
You have to convince, and so on and so forth, right? And really, per kilowatt, nuclear energy is still the most expensive form, right? So, so if you were to replace coal, which is a cheap form of energy, into renewables, we can't necessarily go to the highest scale either. So wind, I think, provides if wind is not the absolute solution, at least it provides an intermediary solutions for the world power, right? As Southeast Asia has got 50% of the population is really in the world, right? Asia, it's incredible, and the amount of power that it needs is incredible. So we see a massive growth within the region, and I think Skylar is I guess well placed to be able to do that within the region, because we've learned our lessons, and everything that we do is under Australian standard, which is one of the highest standards of safety in the world. If we can bring that know-how into the region, right, I think that is what do you call it? It's a different type of value proposition that the local providers give, right? And within Asia, there's always this thing that we are trained by overseas company, right? So that there's perception.
Well, you're bringing Australian quality, but
correct.
You've got effectively a beachhead in Indonesia.
Yeah.
That allows you to jump into Southeast Asia within hours instead of.
It's not different.
Having to clear the 6 hours just to get from Melbourne across the mainland Australia before you even start getting into Asia. You're already there.
Correct. So
plus, you and Anita speak the languages too.
Yeah, we speak the language as well. So I guess to draw a comparison between where we are in Jakarta and Australia is a bit like you're living in Sydney. That allows you to actually go up, down, sideways, New Zealand, that sort of stuff. So Jakarta actually provides that. So Manila is only 2.5 hours away.
Yeah.
Singapore is not far.
Yeah.
Japan, even if you want to, that's like 3.5 hours, 4
Japan,
hours away.
India,
China. And India. Yeah. So it actually opens up and we're able to actually monitor and maintain Australia. I can be here, within a couple of hours.
What is a 2-hour time difference to Melbourne?
3.
Yeah.
So
depending on
really,
the
it's not different than me running the business out of Perth. If we want to just go back to live in Perth, right, where we come from. So, so Indonesia actually provides that really nice grounding, a nice base to actually look at these geographical expansions.
It's exciting for the future, mate.
It really is. It really is. And because of the move, and I think I said this to you the other day, right? The boys operationally don't actually need me, and it's a good feeling, but it's a shit feeling at the same time, right? I like to be needed. I like to be needed. So
you're needed in a different way. It's a good thing. It's how it should be.
For all things, it's very, very good, right? And this is the sort of things that we want to do. And as we discussed in the past, a lot of business owners want to get to this point, and a lot of them never get to this point, right, where they just can detach themselves from business and business run. So early days, but I think all signs are very, very positive. I can see that our management team are making decisions. Some of them not what I would do, but that's what they would do.
They've made a decision.
And it works. I might have some ways of doing it, but the fact that I'm not here, I think when I was here at the office every day, they don't get or they don't want to make their decisions because they don't want to take responsibility, why would you? The
They
boss
can
is
default
here.
for you. Yeah.
Right. The fact that I'm not physically there, it actually they're coming out of their shell, and they're smart people, of course. This is why we hired them, and they're making decisions. As I said, not necessarily what I would make, but they still it gives the same result. So I'm like, great. I think it's really, really good. I'm excited on the prospect that they are growing. You know, and I had to come to terms the other day thinking to myself that I have stunned their growth. And I'm glad we made the decision now and just go.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, otherwise they'll just never transform. And I
That's
think,
awesome, man.
you know,
That's awesome. To close it out, one last thing for you. Like, as a business owner, someone who served, family man, if you had the proverbial ring of power, if you were Prime Minister, whatever, in Australia, your will be done. What would you change and why?
change in terms of what in Australia.
Yeah. If it was up to you.
I actually would encourage more family values. Right? Where dads are dads, our mums are mums, kids are kids. I just see, so many times attack on the family values. That's the reason I get up every morning, right? It's my family. That what drives me. That's what scares me. That's what gives me joy. That's what stresses me out. But I would not do it without my family. Either on my corner, for them, all these kind of things. They're the one that's gonna carry on my legacy and mine and Anita's legacy. So I think we need to go back to the roots of family. That's where it starts.
You see society drifting away from that?
I 100%. I think societies are becoming more. A lot of the emphasis are placed on individuals rather than the collective, right? Diversity is a strength. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think unity is a strength, right? We can have different opinions. We can have different colors. We can have different everything. But
the strength comes from what unites you, not what divides
100%.
you.
It's not. I think we should spend less time in looking at why we all different, but looking at how are we all the same. What are our goals? And I think you can't hope to achieve that if you don't have the grounding from home. So if anything I would change would be family values, whether that's through religions or whatever. I mean, Australia is a Christian nation. It founded as a Christian nation. I don't know why we've gone away from that. It's almost just a shame to admit that. I think it's a strength, you know what I mean? There's grounding in that, right? Me, myself, I follow, and with my wife, our Buddhist teaching because, karma is a big thing with us. We will not do things that would harm others. Not because karma will hit us. We truly believe that our descendants and things like that could be hit later on, so we don't want to put that on them. That's our responsibility, right? But those sort of things those kind of values are really taught at home, right? And you can't subcontract, your family beliefs and family values and how you teach your kids to outsiders. And I think
Seems to be happening now.
I think we're going away from that.
Yeah.
So if I was the
People
Prime
are relying on
Minister
schools and effectively the government to teach their children.
Correct. You're subcontracting your responsibilities, I think, right? So if I was to change anything, I would promote that to the highest degree. Family.
Cool. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Awesome. Pramono, thank you so much for your time, mate. Appreciate it.